Hi everyone and welcome to our second episode of Community Series at Data AI Stockholm. Today I have Benjamin with me who will share about his journey and of course his project VisQuill that we all seen on LinkedIn, and it's been very successful. Hi Benjamin, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here. And I'm happy to talk about VisQuill. But before, I would like to say a few words about my background. I'm an algorithm engineer with a very strong experience in data visualization. So I've been working on data visualizations, I think, for the last 15 years. Mostly from computational point of views and from the algorithmic point of views. So what I mean with this is that I mostly developed algorithms that other people can use to create data visualizations. This all started with my PhD studies, where I basically considered optimization problems in data visualizations, and then also during my postdoc time and then in my time in industries, I considered more and more different problems for data visualizations, considering different types of data sets, for example, so temporal data, spatial data, but also connected data. So connected data, you know from networks, so I considered network visualizations. Maybe you know knowledge graphs, or of course you know social networks. So it was about visualizing these. And during these years, I learned more and more about how to visualize data, not only from an algorithmic point of view, but also from a very practical point of view. And what I also learned is that interactions are more and more important to explore complex data sets. And it's quite difficult sometimes to get interactions into data visualizations. And this basically brought me to this project VisQuill I'm currently working on, where it's about creating interactive data visualizations that help you to visualize multidimensional and multivariate data. And yeah, that's basically my background.
Perfect. I mean, that sounds really interesting because I just want to focus on a question about your background. You said about visualization. Like, have you used different specific tools, or did you build everything in house? Like, how did you actually did the visualization, even at your PhD?
So basically, during my PhD studies and also in my time as a postdoc, I mostly worked more on a theoretical level. So it was really about developing algorithms for visualizing data. So it was more on the level of describing such algorithms, proving certain quality bounds for these algorithms, also showing that they have certain performance. But then when I switched to industries, it was really about more working in the practice. So also implementing these algorithms for example, for network visualizations, and bringing them into a software library basically. And that was basically the part what I did then more on a practical level. And there I also learned on about how to visualize data, for example, for web applications, which I now use in the VisQuill project.
Fantastic. Wow, okay, it sounds really impressive. So I would like to hear even more about VisQuill. Can you please share more information about your project?
So basically, VisQuill is a framework that you can use to visualize data, and in a very interactive way. So the idea is that you can build up interactive visualization tools with this framework. So it's not like that you get ready to use components, but it's more like that you can stick these things together. Just to give an example that I've just published before Christmas, this was about a data set visualizing the housing prices in London. So this was a really large data set, basically over the multiple years. It showed the housing prices of London. And the idea was to visualize this data set. And with classic methods, I wouldn't be able to do this in the sense that I could also see the different years and maybe also different types of data. So what I did is with VisQuill, I created a lens basically that you can hover over the map. This lens then only shows the statistics for a certain region of London, giving you information. And the idea of VisQuill is that it's a framework with which you can create such visual tools that you can then use to explore your data in a very playful way.
I mean, that sounds great. I mean, looking even at your videos on LinkedIn, it really looked impressive. I was thinking about, because especially when using a huge amount of data when it comes to visualization, it could take a long time actually to, load, or even like when you change a filter. How does it work there?
So basically the idea is, of course, to pre-process the data. So to pre-process so that it can be easily get into the visualization and then be queried fast. But on the other hand, the trick is also not to show all information, but more to give only a filter on the information, so that the visualization does not become too complex. It's not the idea to always show all information, because we are not able to understand everything if the complete map is cluttered with information. So the idea is to reduce the information also from a visual part, and this also helps, of course, in performance if you only show a small part of the visualization, but giving the user to the possibility still, by exploring the data, still seeing everything if the user wants.
Fantastic. So who is the user of VisQuill?
So basically the user of VisQuill, so from an application point of view, could be anyone. So basically it could be deployed in data platforms where people just want to show their data, which other people could download. It could be used in dashboards, but it could also be used on maps or in standalone applications. From the developer point of view, it's a framework that is meant for web applications. So it's meant for web developers who want to integrate visualizations in the applications.
It's, it has a great potential there. I mean, everyone, a lot of user cases I can see, right? Like a lot of people would like to try, for sure. By the way, have you ever had anyone trying your project?
So currently it's still under development. So what I do is I publish these examples that I create with VisQuill on my homepage, and also create LinkedIn posts and in order to show these to people, and then people can actually try them out on my homepage. But that's basically also one of the major milestones that are placed in February for me. I want to publish a version of VisQuill that can be actually used by web developers. So, and it will comprehend or include some simple examples how to do this. And of course, the library or the SDK itself. And then people can actually use it for their applications.
Fantastic. So this is some kind of milestone or next step thing.
Yes.
What are your goals? Where do you see VisQuill in 1 year from now, let's say?
Yeah. So in 1 year, I hope that I managed to not only publish the first versions, but also refined VisQuill more and more. So the idea is to use different methods of computational geometry, and that in the current state it's still at some points very simple, and I have a lot of ideas what still could come into the system. So I hope that next year I will say, okay, it's I could develop it a bit further from a technical point of view, but I also know that there are some users already using it. That would be also great.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, we have seen a lot of engagement on your videos on LinkedIn, which is great. And I want to maybe ask you if you got any comments that you felt okay, something that actually helped you with the project itself, or something that actually helped you even have a deal with someone or something.
Yeah. So yes, of course, these comments that I get were really helpful, also in the sense that they were quite motivating. Just to see, okay, I'm doing something there that people are interested in, and I got also feedback in the sense that people just made suggestions how to improve the visualizations, which is also quite helpful, because sometimes you have an idea for a visualization and you think, oh, that's really great, and then you put it out on the internet, and then you recognize, okay, some things still not work with the visualization. People don't understand this correctly. They don't know how to use it, and with this post, I basically learned how to do this. And I also got some requests about actually using it in web applications.
Fantastic, yeah, because that's actually also gonna be like some QA as well, right? Will help you if you have people actually testing your product.
Yeah.
Fantastic work! Like really, I have to say it's really impressive, and I'm really happy that you also said yes to this, and you can share more information about your project to the community. Speaking of which, I mean, it's great to have you part in our community. So I wanted to ask even as well, like how did you find Data AI?
So basically, I moved to Stockholm last year, and I was looking for a way to meet people also working in IT and data, and basically I found the Data and AI community on a meetup platform, and then it was basically clear, okay, for me to go there. The first event I went was a very casual one. You just went or go and then just talk to people, and that was really nice.
I'm happy to hear that. And what's your how do you feel about it in AI as a community?
I think it's really nice and great to be in this community, because it's a community that is based on very different kind of people working on very different fields. So you have a lot of course, software developer, you have a lot of people working in data analysis, data science, but also data visualization. So it's really different. And every time when I go to such an event, I have the feeling that I learn something I haven't thought about before. So last time, for example, I met people working in logistics, and that was really nice to learn about something about shipping containers and what kind of problems they have there for their for analyzing data, and also using how they use AI, for example.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this. I mean, to be honest, I have to say I'm really happy just to hear that. I mean, wonderful. It was really nice to get to know you more, and even get to know more about your product and your your project. And we always kind of end up this conversation with a question, and that question is what's your input of what responsible AI is?
So responsible AI has of course many different aspects, and one aspect I'm thinking of is reliability. I would like to answer this question from a perspective of someone who works in data visualization. So when creating data visualizations, it's quite easy to create visualizations that look plausible and that look beautiful, and then people just have a very short look at these visualizations, and they trust these visualizations and draw their implications out of this. And then if you don't do this responsibly, then they draw the wrong implications. And I have the impression that in AI you have a very similar effect. It's quite easy to create products with AI that look plausible, that look flawless. And then people trust these products very easily. Everyone knows the results of ChatGPT and similar systems where you get flawless text, and of course we just read them and then think, yeah, that looks plausible. But when creating AI systems or AI applications, I think it's important to take the responsibility to make these results also reliable, so that users can really rely on these products. And that's for me a very important aspect for AI. And this defines for me AI responsible in a certain sense.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and your amazing work. And thank you everyone for watching episode 2 of the community series of Data AI Stockholm. And stay tuned for more episodes coming soon. Thank you.